and Director Marsh is absent.
Great. So we first open up to the public.
Yeah, so public comment on items not on the agenda.
You didn't introduce the other people.
Oh, sorry. I'm rusty. I'm Chuck Duffy, the general manager. We have Hope Atmore, the assistant general manager, and Bill Parkin, our general counsel.
Great. And so before we open up the agenda, we'll ask the general public if there are any items that they would like to bring forward that aren't on the agenda.
Hello, I'm April Campbell calling on behalf of the senior co-siders.
Hello.
Hello. So my name is April Campbell. I'm on the board of senior co-siders. Senior co-siders focuses on providing programs and services for all seniors 55 and over on the coast side. We serve thousands of seniors and their families annually with care management, providing advice and hands-on help navigating the varied needs of older adults. Our enrichment programs are very popular and offer learning opportunities with in-person and online classes in everything from yoga to computer tutoring to English classes, along with special event offerings throughout the year like a dinner club at It's Italia. Our volunteer program provides over 300 individuals the chance to make a difference by serving others in our community. We have a fundraising event called Taste of the Coast coming up on September 10th. So if you're interested, join us for an evening featuring the best of the coast. Come sample a wide variety of local specialties from local restaurants, from tapas to tortellini, sip fine wines, beer, and cocktails while enjoying live music from Mike McCall. Sweet treats will also be provided by Half Moon Bay's most popular bakers and candy makers. So if you'd like to learn more, please visit our website. We will also be selling event and raffle tickets at the New Leaf this Friday from 2 to 6 and Saturday from 9 to 3 for the next 2 weeks. We'll also be at the Farmers Market on September 2nd. We welcome the opportunity to team up with the GCSD and look forward to working together in making certain all senior co-siders enjoy a safe, healthy, and enriched future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals that'd like to say something?
Actually,
Yes.
I'm not sure this is general public participation, but I want to say that I had a couple of interactions with Recology recently that were positive. And I just thought, they're our contractor and I thought I'd mention them. One was that we needed a bulk pickup and it was really easy to arrange. And they were very nice when we called. And number two is the driver came around, and I have a grandson who's really into recycling and trash and everything else. He has been since he was a little kid. And the guy was so nice to him. He was there pushing the bins out and doing all this stuff. And it was just a really positive experience. So I wanted to give just some positive feedback to Recology.
Amazing. Thank you. Any other comments? All right. So with that, we will proceed to the regular meeting agenda.
Yep.
All right. So first up on the agenda, parks and recreation activities. We have a report on the Granada Community Park and Recreation Center.
So Ray, would you like to give an update on your meeting?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Just a quick update on where we are at. We had our project meeting yesterday, and happy to report that we finally have agreed on a project description for the initial study, and we're going forward with the biological, cultural, and traffic as well as noise. We have a proposal for a noise study to be completed soon, hopefully. We're going to discuss the proposal and hopefully we'll start on that soon. We want to make sure that the activities that we're proposing, that it would be within the criteria for the county. And as far as the noise, check out the decibels and agree on the extent of usage for the community center as well as the park. The biological studies moving forward, we should have a draft study with us in about 2 weeks. The cultural archaeological study also is moving forward. We should have a draft within 3 to 4 weeks. We are working on the visual renderings. We're gonna create these renderings for both the park and include the community center. Looking from the north and looking from the south, this will help us with applying for grants. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking at the overhead lines to see if we can have them cross over to the other side of the roadway, so clear up the views to the park. And we have discussed with the water district, and they tentatively agreed to give us, based on the priority service, a 2-inch line for the park and a 2-inch line for the community center, plus whatever the need is for the fire for the community center. So that is a good news, and kind of put our mind to rest that water would be available and we can move forward with the landscaping plan as well as serving the community center. Hope, Atmore, and I have met regarding the grant funding potentials, and we're looking at several different avenues, and we hope that with visual renderings underway, as well as the ISMND studies being completed soon, that we'll be in a good position, hopefully, to investigate some grants and move forward with some applications. That's pretty much sums up where we're at. Any questions? Be happy to discuss.
I'd just like to say it's great to have Ray on board. We're making real progress. Things are moving along. So I think it's terrific that these things are finally done, and we're moving forward. Thank you, Ray.
Yes,
Thank you, Barbara. Your help is really appreciated attending the meeting. It's a really good to have, the board representative there during the meeting, so we can discuss these and take care of the questions and get a direction set rather than going around in a loop. And we appreciate that.
Ray, do you have an idea, prognostication on how long the CEQA process will take?
We've been talking with the county. I just confirmed with them the zoning, and wanted to kind of put a schedule together for that. But without having the actual draft of the study, it's hard to say. We have to see what the impacts of the biological and the noise study will be. So normally, I would expect it to be about 9 to 12 months total up to the CDP, but it all depends on the results and what the impacts are and how we're going to mitigate those impacts. Thanks.
Good news is that we're progressing on getting the reports that will allow us to measure, to evaluate those impacts so that we are ready to submit.
And then the next one within this section is the review of planned recreation program events.
Hope Bill take us.
Yeah.
So I put a few things out.
We did go to the next one.
I put a few things together that you guys could see in the agenda memo about some proposed plans for the next few months, including a history walk and a nature walk that Director Dye, Director Marsh are going to put together.
I'm happy to have anybody help with it.
I've also reached out to Coastside Land Trust, and they're going to put together a nature journaling. So we've actually got dates for that. They'll do one event here in this room. And then they'll follow up the following Sunday with an actual in the field nature journaling program. So that's going to be open to anybody in the community to come in and participate with. The Ramp Jam series, the first one is happening this coming weekend. So that's not so much a Granada Community Services District project, but it's, on our property. So they'll be meeting this Saturday, and then they're doing another one in October. So those are both coming together nicely. We're working with Beach Break Entertainment, Julie Mel, to do a movie in the park. And we're looking at September 30th for that with an October 7th rain date. We've got a couple other things that we're are in the works. I've spoken with Patrick Tierney about doing a BORP bike outing, but we're going to have to push that off to October because he's out of town and can't do much with it right now, but it's in the works. So that's it for now. But if you have any suggestions, I'm always open to putting more things out there. So. Okay.
Yeah. Could you just give a little plug for what's happening this weekend, the Beach Break Entertainment? It's this weekend or next weekend?
The Ramp Jam series?
Ramp Jam.
Yeah, Ramp Jam. So Ramp Jam is put together by a group called Heart Drive. The main person's over in Oakland, and it's a fundraiser for ALAS.
Right.
And I think they always kind of focus on ALAS, and they'll have food vendors and various contests, and it's, sort of focused around the skate ramp.
I think it's great. I just want the community to know about it and to come down. And I know the Hawaiian food place is focusing on providing food that it's not normally available. And there's going to be live music. There's going to be various booths. I know when I've been to these before, there's been various things for sale and different booths. It's really fun. And I just hope the community knows about it and comes and to benefit all us, which is one of our really important local charities. So it's just a positive note about what's happening.
And this is Saturday, day after
This
tomorrow.
coming Saturday. Yes.
Yeah.
So
From
come on
2
down, everybody, and
2 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
join the party.
Yeah. Okay.
So
2 to 8. Oh, wow,
2
that's
to
great.
8. Mhm.
Well, it says right there.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and we've never had any complaints about the noise.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
Nancy said you
trained me already.
us.
So before we move on, we want to open it up to the community for any comments, remarks. Okay, sounds like nothing there. So we'll move on then to our next item. I think we have Neil Soloway here with us this evening to consideration of approval for a Class 3 mainline extension permit for the Soloways at 1230 Columbus Street, El Granada.
Yeah, so what we've got here, and Barbara had emailed me earlier, and I forgot to put in here that this doesn't cost the district anything. We've done this before, but obviously you all haven't, so it does not cost the district anything. But the best thing,
To know that.
yes.
Good to know.
Sometimes you get into this business, you've done it too long and you forget.
Yes.
So
Appreciate it.
the easiest way to go through this is to look at page 12. It's pretty simple. To read my memo, it's nearly incomprehensible. So that's why I did a picture. So basically, Mr. Soloway now connects in that existing private lateral is just graphical in nature, and the location of the buildings are also not accurate because of different layers on a GIS system. So,
Okay.
but basically, he is connected right now to Francisco Street with a private lateral that goes across an easement over that property right there. And what he would like to do is extend the sewer main that exists, that blue line on Pollard's land, like to extend that to his land and then connect his lateral there. It's just more convenient, and I think it's a better solution. We don't like to have laterals across other people's property. So what your board is looking at today is to approve the Class 3 mainline extension permit. Class 3 just means it's a public sewer that will be dedicated to the district once he's done. So all the costs are his. Once he gets it complete, we inspect it, we accept it, and then it becomes ours. And then we just put it on the regular maintenance schedule and all that kind of stuff.
And is this not the lateral, the long lateral that Sam's been called out for recently a couple times?
I don't know that. Have they?
Many times.
Okay, they have.
Yeah, that's the one they are to talk about.
Okay.
He's at the very end and
Yeah.
it's not a fall.
Yeah, it's not ideal. Anyway, so.
Yeah. Okay. So now.
So the action we're looking for is to
Yes.
approve the Class 3 mainline permit.
So moved.
Second. Oh, okay, great.
That's
right, so-
other things too, yeah.
And
But can I have one more part of the motion? Sorry.
sure.
You're also granting me the power to accept the quitclaim of the existing easement. So he's got his existing easement. We're going to remove that and just extend it longer. So grant me the power to quitclaim the existing easement, and I already had the power to accept easements based on a resolution done 20 years ago.
I will amend my motion to include whatever you just said.
So, okay. And before we go any further, to open it up to the public for any comments? Anyone? Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional
Easy.
on the Zoom? Anybody else with comments? All right. So with that, we're gonna,
We got a motion.
we have a motion to, what's what I have to say? Approval of the Class 3 mainline extension permit for Neil and Eva Soloway at 1230 Columbus Street.
I have one more question. Does Pollard approve?
Yes, she's been involved in this the whole time. Yeah.
Great.
We wouldn't be doing this otherwise.
I know.
Just wanted on the record.
Not this easily, anyway.
Oh, thank you.
So I have to say it again.
You just call, no, you can just call a vote.
All right, can I call a vote?
All the question. Yeah.
Want to do a roll call for so it's just
Okay.
one vote.
I'll do a roll call vote.
Okay.
Director Grant,
Yes.
Director Clark,
Aye.
Director Dye,
Yes.
and Director Randall.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 4-0.
Right. So with that, we'll move on to item number 3, which is resolution to authorize district staff to participate in state disability insurance program.
Okay, and that item, we've been looking at this for a while, so when Nora went out on maternity leave, we found out that we didn't belong to SDI, State Disability Insurance. Now, I didn't even know we could not belong to SDI, and I actually called my HR people to do that. They didn't know either. But it turns out we don't, so we'd like to join the program. It's at no cost to the general district. The personnel pay for it out of their paychecks and whatnot. So I think it's a good thing to have, and it doesn't cost us anything.
I felt really bad about that, actually.
Yeah.
She needed the extra support and
And we
sadly, we were
jumped through
unable to do
hoops
it.
to try and make that
Yeah.
happen. And
Still couldn't do it.
yeah, all of a sudden the state became efficient.
I was equally surprised to find out, what? We're not in the SDI
Right.
program? How's that happen? Or not happen?
You don't know until you you need it, right? So yeah.
Move approval.
There's a second.
A second. Can I second?
Yes.
No, a second. So with that, we open up to the public for comments.
Yep.
Okay, looks like no comments from the public, then we'll move to vote for a resolution to authorize district staff to participate in the state disability insurance program.
Okay, I'll do another roll call vote. Director Grant,
Yes.
Director Clark,
Aye.
Director Dye,
Aye.
and Director Randall.
Yes,
Okay, motion passes 4-0.
let's go. Meeting agenda. All right, number 4, consideration of director's compensation.
Okay, we put this on it because this was brought up at the last meeting, and I think Sam has considered this certainly in the past several years, and Montero just considered the exact same thing and increased theirs was $75 a meeting, had it been changed in this is the 90s or something like that, so they went up to $150. I think there's a provision in the law, correct me, Bill, is it 5% increase?
So it's $100 is the maximum, but that can increase 5% for each year from the last increase.
Okay.
So it's oddly worded, but that's how it's structured. So you can do, and based on my review of the records, this was up for consideration in 2018 or something like that, but nothing happened, it seems to me.
Okay.
So I don't think anything's changed since 2004. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Sure. But in any event, just so everyone's aware, the amount is based on days of service. And what days of service are is attending any Brown Act meeting or any other meetings for another agency or training, but these all have to be pre-authorized by the board. So just because you authorize an increase doesn't mean it would apply to everything a director does in terms of a day of service. It has to be something that's pre-approved by the board. So, and then there has to be a report back to the board. But based on $145 is the current number, I think, right?
Yes.
So figure from the date, 5% for each year from the last increase, and calculate that out. That would be your ceiling.
What would it be? I think that's more than we want to authorize, but what would it be?
That would, assuming it's 2004, it's 19 years. So
You did simple interest, right?
5% for each year.
Yeah, we're at $350.
Almost double.
Yeah.
How much was it in 2004?
145 was the last increase. Now, mind you, we were then a sanitary district, which there were different compensation rules And once we became a CSD,
No.
then this other statute and how the rules work are different. So
Are you saying that you want to increase it to $350 per meeting?
No, we are not saying, he's just saying that is what is
that would be the ceiling.
That would be
ceiling.
your limit. Yeah.
Do we have a proposed number? I believe we do, right?
And we'd have to bring this back because it has to be done via ordinance and there has to be publication in the
Yeah.
newspaper. And then it doesn't go into effect for 60 days. So there's a whole process that goes along. So I think this agenda item is simply to get direction as to how the board wants to proceed.
I would propose we raise it to the same level that Sam just raised theirs to 190.
Right, that's okay.
And Bill, is there a way in this ordinance that we can change to doing this through resolution?
No, the ordinance is dictated by statute.
Okay.
So the statute says it has to be done by ordinance.
The ordinance is dictated by statute and statute says we have to do it by ordinance.
Is that how I framed it? He asked whether we could change it so it could be done by resolution. I'm
Right.
saying statute requires it to be done by ordinance. So
Got it. Okay.
So-
Because an ordinance requires 2 readings and publication. So we have to do the first reading in September and then October.
And that's under the CSD
correct.
rules.
Correct. Which cross references to, believe it or not, the water code. So don't get me started on it.
I would certainly not want to go to the max at all, but I think in a slight increase to what we're proposing to be consistent with the other agencies would be okay. And, you know, we do have costs for being volunteers for this job. So I'd be fine with going up to that. Is that all you need tonight is direction, or you need a vote?
Yeah, so just direct staff to draft an ordinance to specify, sounds like $190 is the target per meeting and per day of services bills.
Okay. So we would need to move for that? Or no, what do we need?
You can just direct staff. Yeah.
Just direct staff.
Oh, no.
And I'll bring it back and then do a motion at the next meeting.
Okay.
And take any public comment on that.
Okay. Are there any public comments on this item? Okay, sounds like a word from the public then.
If you've ever made a mistake and printed out the whole agenda yourself on your home printer, you've racked up a big bill. So I usually just print out the pages that I want to talk about. But
Or Sam, that's different.
yeah, Sam, same thing.
Okay, then,
GCSD pays us to go to SAM meetings.
correct, right.
So, but not as much somehow. I don't care. It's
You
fine.
get taxed.
Because I also get
They
SAM reimbursed.
don't pay us anything currently because they're at 145. And so if we went up to 190 at Sam and where they consider us employees. And so we're not getting extra money from GCSD ever since that went to 190.
Okay, it's fine. Whatever. It's a nice little extra that helps cover the costs of printing and so forth and gas.
Okay. Well, so we will bring that back
Next meeting
at the
then.
next meeting.
Great, thank you. Item number 5, consideration of revised starting time for district regular board meetings.
And I think Director Marsh requested this. She would like the meeting moved up to 7:00.
I agree. Right.
And I think also the special meetings moved
Yeah.
to 6 or 6:30.
And what we do with the special meeting is I take a look at what's on the special meeting, and sometimes it's a half hour, sometimes an hour, and if there's something big on the lawsuit, it might be longer. That flexes.
But you can move the start time of the regular meeting based on how much time we need for the special meeting, for the closed session.
I know that you're setting the regular meeting, and you have to set a time and date for the regular meeting.
Right.
So I adjust the
Special
start
meeting.
time of the special meeting.
But that is 6 or
So we have to
6:30.
start at 6. If we needed a 1 hour,
Right,
we needed a 1 hour
yes.
closed session, then we'd have to start at 6.
Yes.
under
And we
this-
can also do a closed session after the end of the regular.
I know,
meeting.
well, we're all tired.
We try not to, I know.
That seems like a great idea. Let's start at 11, a really hard topic. Okay,
I support moving it to 7.
So do I.
yeah, so do I.
Okay,
Do we need
Do we need to come?
Jill?
for this?
yes.
I don't really care. Whatever time you choose is fine with me.
Okay, with that, and
Do we need to open it up to the public?
Yes.
All right, so are there any comments from the public on this topic? All right, no comments for the public. Do we need an official vote?
No,
No,
just
that's
direct
it.
staff and I'll bring it back in September.
Great. All right, so item number 6, consideration of district letter of support for the Mid-Coast Community Council's request to San Mateo County to fund planning for community broadband. This is very exciting.
And again, this was requested by several of you, and I don't know, hope you have anything you want to add to this, or just it's pretty straightforward, I think. You just want your screen time.
No, the problem is, I mean, it's somewhat straightforward, but my understanding is that since this was put on our agenda, they actually have canceled this extension of the study for the Mid-Coast. So there's another letter now that's being circulated that's been signed off by Ray Mueller's office, Anna Eshu's office, all these different people up to Gavin Newsom's office to try and encourage them to reconsider and put us back into the planning for the funding for the study. So,
Oh, no.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
I talked to Supervisor Mueller about this and at an event, and they thought it was all set. You know, we're going to get the line through the tunnel. You know, the planning it's more than just the planning. It's actually the planning for a specific thing that was going to be funded. And then they let them know that, oh, we changed our mind. You're not high priority. You don't have enough diversity in your area. And so
But it sounds like
everybody's gearing up to put pressure on everybody to reinstate it because they had more or less approved it.
Mhm.
So,
But I think she's actually raising a different point, which is that because we put this on our agenda, we've derailed a broader conversation.
Well, no, it just means that what we were going to sign off on a letter for tonight that's sort of a moot point.
Oh, the
Because it's
letter.
now, yeah, it's kind of, it's gone back a step and so there may be another letter that we might want to sign on to at a future
okay.
point, but I don't think that letter is going to matter right
can
now.
we authorize staff to sign a letter that's consistent with this that we're talking about here?
Yeah, broadly speaking for broadband, but broadly speaking, yes.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that you're all in support of increasing access to broadband.
So then whenever it goes, and we don't have to
Right.
worry about it. Yeah, I like that idea.
I mean, people here were out of touch for a week, and that's a long time, especially
Some
with
more
people
than a
at
week,
this.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny, we were talking about some of the computer programs we're getting, and a lot of them are online, like QuickBooks.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to Hope about this, I said, I'm worried because you all lose service so often, we won't be able to access the programs.
Yeah.
So this looked like it's going to help that, but.
And I said, they're putting in a redundant line. It'll be fine.
There are a lot of people who have help need that need to be
Hello?
on. Oh, yep. Jill, is that you?
No, it's Michelle Dragony.
Not me.
Oh, okay.
Michelle would like to speak.
Yep, one second, we'll open it up. I just want to,
Well, I
sorry,
think
Hope, are you done? Yeah. Okay.
I would really like to see us authorize staff to review, and if it's consistent with the previous discussions and adding increased connectivity for the coast side, that they could be authorized to go ahead and issue the letter. Don't wait till our next meeting. But
So we revise this letter.
or if this letter is better to go, I don't have a problem with sending it. I don't.
But just having something on record so that when it's ready, we're
for it.
ready. Yeah, we're for it.
We're for it.
Like a paragraph that says we're outraged that this got dropped at the last minute.
Yes.
After Caltrans okayed the line through the tunnel at lightning speed for Caltrans. Now, just give them the excuse to not okay it again.
I've understood it first. Anywho, so it sounds like we have a comment from the community. So if there aren't any on the board, I'll open up to Michelle.
Hi. So I spoke to Ray this afternoon, and the technology group for the state pretty much randomly decided that those that already have connectivity get funded, and they put into phase 2, which is not funded, not Dateline.
We lost you for a second. Could you repeat a little bit of what you said?
So the state decided rather arbitrarily that, well, it wasn't arbitrary. They basically had criteria, and the criteria said that if you have no internet, we're going to fund this. So they think that we have internet. And what Ray said to them was, we have such bad internet that we actually don't have internet.
Yeah.
So you need to fund us. And so I was talking to also Cassandra Matters, the PIO at the taco truck, where you talk about these things. And I said, so are we an anomaly in the state of California? Are we like maybe the only place in California that has this look like that we're next to Silicon Valley? We have some broadband. But Ray said, yeah, you're right. We don't get 911. So that's what he told them. We don't get 911. It's not just our broadband that doesn't exist. It doesn't go and goes out. We don't have cellular.
Right.
They did not know that. And so I posited that Ray is asking them to fund this area separately from everything else because we are so unique. So want to just give you an update on that he's still in the boxing ring for us.
That's great. Thank you, Michelle. All right.
You're
welcome. We have a ask from the board to.
Yeah, so you can, someone make a motion to
Okay, a motion.
I'll make a
authorize
motion
staff
that we
to.
authorize staff to send this letter or a letter more specific to the current situation regarding this issue.
And I second it.
I will, and we had public, so I will roll call. Director Grant,
Yes.
Director Clark. Aye. Director Dye,
Yes.
and Director Randall.
Yes.
Motion carries.
No, I suggest you send it on paper as well. Because I live a few blocks from here. Our internet was very intermittent yesterday and again today, like on for 3 minutes, off for 5 minutes. And we also got a notice from Comcast that tomorrow, the 18th, they're going to be working on our block and we will be without internet. So.
It's also not lost on me that Michelle was going in and out as she was speaking. All right.
She did it on purpose.
Yeah, perfect. Worked. All right. Item number 7, engineers report.
Does anyone have any questions? I'll just give a quick.
Oh, no, go ahead. Give a report.
Just for the public. We completed our 6-year CIP at the beginning of the year, and we filed what's called a notice of completion, which you have to do that leans action, that legal action is in place. Big wave, they've completed their sewer main. The county did not accept the street repair, so they're still dealing with that. The Harbor Village RV Park is under construction and they'll be connecting to our sewer. Pillar Point Harbor RV public restroom project is underway. The Pillar Point Harbor sewage meter, which has been discussed literally as long as I've been at this district, and they finally went out and put a meter in. So Kenny Jenks is reviewing that. And then SRT Consultants at SAM is working on the design or replacement of the Montero Force Main, which is a SAM asset. And then Kenny Jenks is updating our standard specifications and details from 2003. And that's it. Barbara, you had a question?
Yeah, a couple. Where is this Pillar Point Harbor sewage meter? What is it?
It's in the Pillar Point Harbor, and it's kind of an interesting thing. So literally it has been going on for 20 years. John Rayner sent them a proposed design in 2003.
Wow.
And we've called them multiple times because we think they're paying too much for the sewer service charge because they're not metering it and we're doing it through water usage and whatnot. Some of that goes into the harbor, obviously. So they finally got around to fixing it. So that's what that is. So we were trying to be fair to them and they ignored us for many years and they just paid more. So the good news is they're getting the meter in,
Is it on the, where the restaurants and shops are? Is that where it is? Or is it the Harbor Master's building and the restroom? Or is it all of those?
I went out there 20 years ago, so I don't remember.
Come on, you came out.
Lost.
That is all the flow from every place that is Harbor District property.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's all the restaurants and other towns.
And hopefully-
And it's, I did go down, I went down with John, and it is in the parking lot, sort of if you've got the restaurants to your back and you're looking toward the San Mateo County Harbor District building, their
Yeah.
offices, it's just there. It's just to the right. It kind of stands up and it's.
so it serves all those places.
Yes.
And does it
everything.
serve water that's provided? No, never mind. Yeah.
I mean, the
Okay.
big problem is that a lot of those places are just rinsing off boats. They're doing things like that. So the water is actually just runoff, but they're being charged for all the water. So one of the fuel stations, I mean, some of them have meters. One of them has a meter so that we don't charge them for the sewer service in the same way, but
Well, this seems
The
like a
rest-
really good thing to do and be fair.
You'd think.
We tried for 20
Right.
years. So,
Great. Thank you.
I have one more question. On the Montero Force Main, the exponent report seems like it's been out there for a while under review. When are we going to find out what they
you
said?
know what's interesting about that? I saw that on a SAM board meeting, the minutes or something. It somehow popped up. And when we reviewed that, Kishan sent a meeting like Monday at 10 o'clock back in March. We had a whole discussion with the engineers about it. And, I made the point of why are we doing forensic analysis on a pipeline we have to replace anyway? Because it's not cheap. It's $83,000 or something like that. And I thought at that meeting, we decided not to go to the next step, whatever the next step was. And then something popped up that kind of looked like they went to the next step. But again, it doesn't matter. I think I told your board this 3 meetings ago. It doesn't matter if it's just broke because it's old or broke because someone drilled a hole in it. We're replacing it. Right. So.
I think it's on the second round of review too, so it's also taking staff time to see.
It makes no sense. And I thought we had kind of killed further work on that. I might be wrong.
And I guess we'll hear more when the standard specifications and details come through, but are there going to be major changes? I mean, 2003 is 20 years ago on our standard specifications and construction details.
No, there's not going to be, engineering hasn't changed that much. We were using PVC back then and the saddles are the same for the most part and things like that. It's just an update.
Okay.
So
Look forward to seeing it.
next meeting
Yeah.
around.
I think they said they would get it done in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Great. Okay.
John's in England, so
Appreciate having a good engineer.
yes, he is really good.
So with that, we'll open up to the public for any comments, right?
Yep.
Yeah, good me. All right, no comments then from the public. We'll move on to report on sewer authority mid co-side meetings. Uh-oh.
Yeah. So you were going to look into having an urgency item and so forth, or?
And I spoke with Bill about this. We have to make certain findings. And one of the findings we have to make is that action must be taken at this meeting. And that's not really true. We can have a special meeting next week.
So we are going to have a special meeting if this item.
Make that finding legally. Yeah.
Do you want to do it or you want me to? I can tackle it. Okay.
Yes.
The ARF lawsuit requires a bunch of stuff. One of the things it requires was that an evaluation be done of the Princeton pump station and that its recommendations be followed. The report that Sam had done, and there's no point in going back through this at this point, determined that it had to be replaced and that the replacement was a package station, which would allow right now, in order to do any work on the Princeton pump station, it requires confined space entry. So people have to go down underground to work on it. It's dangerous. And the station is old. Whether it could continue or not is really not the point at this point. They have done that investigation, made the determination. The SAM board accepted that recommendation. The issue is that in the 22-23 budget, we supported and passed as part of the infrastructure budget $1.3 million for that project. Now they went out to bid And they came back in, and the cost for that is $1.6 million. In addition, the estimate that it will be 400 plus 600, another $600,000, or is more than that?
It got to 2.3 total.
It got to 2.3 total for the cost of the project.
Did you get the copy of this I sent you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as of today, it went to 2.6 million.
Yeah. So
Where did the miscalculation come from?
It's always difficult for me to talk.
Okay.
No, I can. I don't know how you can get that pump station to 2.3 or 2.6.
Yeah.
It's just, so when they did the first report Barbara's talking about, they finished it 2 years ago, it was $1.3 million, 1.4 actually. And even that looks fat to me. They have admin and legal at 40%. It was 350 grand. I don't know what the heck they're doing there, but they got the bid in, the actual construction bid for 1.4 something. And then they had additional electrical, a bunch of other bypass stations, this and that. And they got to 2.3 or 2.6, depending what number you want to believe.
So over a million plus over the actual work itself.
Yeah.
This is all in like.
Yeah, close enough. Yeah. Right. And I look at this stuff and it's tough for me because I haven't reviewed the design yet because I couldn't download it because it's too big. And it doesn't really matter because I can look at this and, like Barbara says, I can complain all I want. I don't know how you can do that pump station for $2.6 million. I just couldn't get there. We just replaced one that does 150,000 gallons a day, which is what Princeton does plus or minus, and it costs $460,000. And same exact thing, submersible pumps, all this kind of stuff. I didn't agree with the original design report they did, but and Kitchen puts in his memo that this is required by the ERF law consent decree. Well, it's not. Because the condition assessment was required by the consent decree, but not.
But they did take the step of doing a condition assessment
and once that came
accepting
out,
the recommendation
right,
that the most expensive option be.
Right.
And to be clear, the condition assessment said that the threats to it were tsunamis, earthquake, and liquefaction, which is certainly true, but this package pump station presumably will, there are other options that might avoid those, and those are a problem. So they're also going to put a wall around it for tsunamis. So here's the issue. The bid is only good until like September 15th, something like that. Yeah. And the next SAM meeting, or the one after next, is the 11th. So we have a choice. We have to either approve this expenditure and, go into our reserves to pay for it, or, the other two agencies are going to approve it. There is no question about it. So we're going to have to do it. So do we do it?
6 votes is the same as 8 votes.
Yeah. Do we disagree? We're not really in a position to make the case to disagree. It does need to be done at some point, whether it needed to be done, for the consent decree, or whether it needs to be done. Certainly the staff at SAM has been wanting this to be done for a long time. And then it comes to the issue of, this is going to increase our costs. Well, we only pay 20%. So we're only looking at the increment because we've already we've already paid them for 1.3 million. So now it's about that much again. And so we pay 20% of that. So it's not like it's $1 million for us, but it's going to reduce our reserves, and it's going to, and we need to be realizing that when the Montero Force Main comes on, we're also going to have this level of expenditure. So even though we just raised our rates, we maybe have to think about raising our rates even more. We are.
And we had a managers meeting on Wednesday that I called in from the East Coast there, and it's a three-member agency managers in Kitchen. And there's a giant process issue here, which keeps getting abused. We passed that in the budget a year and a month ago, $1.3 million. I don't know what they did for the next 12 months. We literally just passed a fiscal year budget a month ago, and they're bringing this on for another $1.3 million. And I said to Kishan, I said, to you, it's just a budget amendment and you get approval. I don't have a rate structure that supports that. I didn't plug that in, the cleaning. And I said, we have to get this stuff earlier. And it wasn't a pleasant conversation because I really took them to task. And, this stuff, again, it's like the Montero Force Main. This work should have been done years ago.
And to be honest, they complained that the reason it wasn't done is because of GCSD refusing to pay and refusing to support that's a repeated thing they keep saying. So I disagree with that, but yeah.
It's not even, like Matthew said, it's just not true. The board has never said they're not going to pay. No, it's just. And
you said the other agencies are going to vote yes on Montero. What, they're not worried about this or have questions?
No. Okay.
They seem to be in alignment, Maz from half and pay. He was more polite than me, but it's kind of funny because I don't ever get this way, except when I'm on those calls. But Maz said the same thing. You can't drop $1.3 million plus another $160,000 a month after we passed the budget.
Right. But they're still going to vote in favor of it too.
Well, the surprising part is having Bay's going to vote allegedly for it, even though they voted not to fund.
They will vote under protest.
Yeah, but they voted not to fund the Montero Force,
which isn't quite clear. Not consistent at all. Yeah.
Because they're both part of the Intertie pipeline. So it's owned by Sam's.
Right.
So the bottom line is we need to have a special meeting to approve this expenditure because we really don't want this contract to expire. Right. Because these days everything costs more. There were 4 bids. They determined that the lowest bid, which was $200,000 less, was non-responsive. The people didn't have the experience. And so they took the second lowest. The other 2 were higher. If they go back out to bid, it's definitely not going to come in at less. Okay. So,
and Barbara, and I think Matthew, you were on the call as well, asked me, what would normally happen, if you will. Well, what would normally happen if I had a bid that came in twice the engineer's estimate? I value engineer it and see, because you made a decision 2 years ago on a cost estimate of 1.3 or 1.4, and now we're at 2.6. It's not the same decision anymore.
I have a lot of problems with the process too. What you just said, I totally agree with. And at SAM meeting, we got the agenda item said it was about the 1.3 million that was already authorized. And then a couple of pages after it says, oh, by the way, it's actually 2.3 million. And then a day later, we get a new memo and now it's 2.6 million. And it's from one fiscal year to the next, 1.3 to 2.6. And halfway through the discussion, Kishan started to explain, well, this isn't the same project that you approved. It's much more elaborate, and he didn't go into any kind of detail, but there's a lot of it in this new memo. And I don't know what, Chuck.
I don't know how that makes it okay.
I don't know how that makes it okay, and I don't know how you assess this, but it seems to me like everything on here is things that should have been included in the project from the get-go. This is not.
And if you read the original report 2 years ago in 2021, it says it's going to include electrical and all this other stuff. So I don't,
Director Grant.
Is it possible to re-advertise and maybe advertise in more locations so we get a bigger pool of contractors bidding on this project? Because I don't agree that if we put it back out for bid that it'll come in higher. I think that maybe we didn't reach all the contractors who might be interested.
Yeah, that'd have to be a question we'd ask Sam. I don't know where they advertised it and how far a net they cast.
I would like to know that.
it changes the alternative analysis, because now when you're looking at this and you knew it was going to be 2.6, you might look at alternatives 1, 2, and 3 and say, yeah, it might not be perfect, but it's $1 million. But they don't.
The other two agencies are prepared to approve this.
Right.
So if we want to vote no, we can vote no. But
It won't change things.
I don't think it'll change things. And to be fair, they had quite a few additional, I mean, I remember seeing the list of people who did the walkthrough and who were, looking at bidding on it. And there were a lot. They had a lot of firms interested in bidding on this, and only 4 actually submitted bids.
Just a clarification, if all member agencies don't approve the budget amendment, it doesn't pass.
Okay.
Interesting, right?
So it's not a matter of not changing anything.
Well, we don't have to-
Our vote does matter.
Yeah, we don't have to make a decision now. We can't actually, but yeah. So we'll be bringing this back, and by then I'll have been able to read the plans and talk to Kitchen.
Okay.
Can we is it possible to get a list of that walkthrough, that pre-bid walkthrough, so we can see who actually showed up?
Yes, you can look at the SAM agenda. I believe that the most recent SAM agenda has it. I'll try to find it and send it to you, Jill, if that would be helpful.
Thanks, Barbara.
Submitted bids, I thought.
No, there were more.
There was had more folks.
When they sent out the requests for bids, more places expressed interest. And I think more came to they usually have a bid meeting.
Right. Are you talking about the last agenda?
No, it was the one before when they talked about how many, they had hopes of getting a lot of bids. And these days, 4 is a lot, actually, because there's a lot of demand for contractors.
So much work around.
And they have to formally reject the lowest bid because they didn't meet the criteria of having been in business for 5 years.
Right.
And that's good to be reminded of that, that we have to vote yes and for a budget amendment. The other agencies were in favor of approving it at our last SAM meeting. And I think we made a stand and said, we're not going to approve this without having the money to pay for it. This is going to have to go on our ratepayers. I've said this a bunch of times. We don't have a lot of ratepayers, and it's a lot of money.
Plus the Montero enforcement.
Plus, that's coming up. Yeah. Now, when those 2 projects are done,
What's that?
those are going to be really expensive. And then, but 3 years ago, a consultant made a list of the needs for SAM. And a lot of those projects have, in fact, already been done. And there seems to be a narrative out there that people don't support SAM and infrastructure needs are ignored. I have a graph that I didn't bring it tonight, but I should share. It just shows the amount of money that the agencies are donating for infrastructure repair. And it's just going up and up and up and up and up. It's not as if nobody's worried about repairing SAM infrastructure and nobody's contributing.
So, as I said, there haven't been any budgets rejected.
Right.
Half Bay protested a bunch of them, and that's part of a lawsuit. But other than that,
and the other thing is, we're hopefully, we had a finance committee meeting for SAM today, and some good things may be happening. Once the lawsuit is done, we may be able to have a separate infrastructure fund that can be tracked from year to year, which would be really helpful, because right now they overspend on one. There's no flexibility in the SAM budget. So if a project like the Basin 4 goes costs $800,000 instead of the $400,000 budget, there's no place to take that money from. And things do go over budget. So it's a problem, but how do we solve it? So do they have a I've a long time supported a contingency aspect to the infrastructure budget that says at least something. So if you go over budget, you don't say, well, we're just going to do it anyway, and somehow we'll figure out how to pay for it. That just doesn't seem like the right way to do it. So there seemed to be consensus today that we need to solve that problem.
Good.
So
Okie dokie.
Do we have a date for our special meeting?
can we, yeah,
No, we haven't set one.
For our special meeting, yeah.
I mean, next Thursday, if that works for everybody.
I will not be here. I don't know when Nancy's back. She just started this week.
yeah, I don't know.
All right, then we can do Thursday after. And we have till the 11th, so I think we've got 3 Thursdays between now and then.
Yeah, I'm gone until the 6th, so, or, yeah. So, 2 weeks.
So we're looking at September.
Doesn't have to be a Thursday.
No, that's
Mhm.
Okay,
What? Okay, what? Are you gonna propose a date?
no, I'm just gonna say that Thursday would be difficult.
The 7th?
Yeah.
Oh,
I could do it the night before.
When?
The 7th would be difficult for me.
I won't be in the country.
Okay. Can you do a
yeah, well, not.
poll to us
Circulate
and
an
see
email.
when there's a date when we can do it?
when are you leaving
29th.
of this month?
Yeah.
Okay, well. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we'll
be
just-
gone. I don't know that we're gonna be able to have a, what's a.
Well, people can call in
3
too.
people in the district.
I cannot call in. I will be in the desert.
Right on.
I don't know exactly,
Oh,
but.
Jill's got her hand up too.
No, I was just saying, right on. I love the desert.
Uh,
So, well, I don't know if we'll be able to
yeah, I won't be back until the 13th of September.
Can we do it Monday or Tuesday next week?
Can we do it, you know,
I can do it Monday next week.
soon?
Yeah.
I can do it Monday next week. That would be the last day I can do it.
Well, if we can get a quorum next Thursday, that's the 24th.
She's gone.
I won't be here. I can only do it Monday next week. I could do it, yeah.
I can do Monday next week,
Can you do Monday next week? Matthew,
Uh,
21st.
21st?
I believe so.
Jill, would you be able to do Monday? No, Jill's shaking her head no.
I can't do Monday.
But Nancy might be back.
Yeah. And Nancy might be able to call in.
Right. True story. She
Yeah.
was going to, but her dinner was conflict tonight, her birthday dinner. Okay. So maybe tentatively Monday, we can confirm?
All right.
Okay.
I'll be jealous if you can't make it and don't have to vote on this.
The pocket be there. Couldn't get a quorum.
There you go. All right. Do we have
Oh,
comments?
can I say one more thing about sewers?
Yeah.
Sorry. But the budget, the final report, the year report for last year, so finishing at the end of June, is $1.6 million over budget, which is largely storm-related expenses that they still don't know how many are going to be paid for by insurance. And then the ones that are not going to be paid by insurance may be paid by FEMA. But at this point, we're looking at a deficit from last year of $1.6 million.
But at least we know why.
Yes. So I just thought I'd share that.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the community? Right, looks like nothing from there. So then we'll move on to,
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just ask one more thing? Which is, I think when we look at this, I think it would be helpful to look at the impact on our reserves. I would like to know how much,
Oh, no, absolutely.
when it comes back to us, like, I'd like to know, we have, like in our financial report for tonight, it shows how much we have in the LAIF fund, the local, the
Right,
safe
but it's a
place that
mix of
agencies
parks
put their money,
and-
but it's
Right.
parks and then, and we raised our rates fairly substantially, but we may have to raise them again.
well, that's what I would be curious.
So I'd
I'd
like
be
to,
curious on that as well as like then are the implications that we would have to raise rates
yeah,
as part of our.
Well, we're going to raise rates no matter what, just for the Montero enforcement.
Correct,
Right.
but I'm just saying, in addition to, because of this,
Yes.
this is also I would want to know if this has an impact, because that would inform whether we go for this or against it for me.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, absolutely. And we have to, if we're going to do it, I think we need to really tell the community why we're doing it. And even though we have issues about perhaps the choices that are being made, we will end up with a system that is more modern and more resilient.
Yeah. That's a nice glass of half full.
I'm trying.
I like it, Barbara. Yes.
There was one other thing that I had put sort of initially under Parks and Rec, and it's something I circulated to everybody this afternoon about NOAA funding, and that they're looking for, all the different agencies, special districts and so forth to collaborate. And they are asking for a letter of support. And since we were talking about the other letter, I'm not sure if that's a letter that we can sign off on as staff, or it needs to be board approved, or you need to give us.
Yeah, they can't take action tonight. It's
right
on the agenda, but I looked at that and I think we can just, who doesn't want grant money?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let that pass, but it's something that we needed to somehow address tonight. So
Appreciate
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
I think I would like to say for the sense of the board that any letters of support for potential grants can
That's
be
what-
issued
I don't-
without a vote of the board.
I don't know anyone who would stop me.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, sorry I talked so much there, but it's a ton of money.
That we shouldn't take lightly. All right, consent agenda. Moving on to item number 9, July 2023 regular meeting minutes. What do we do now? Do we read
No, you don't have to read the consent agenda. It's August 2023 warrants, and I just started off. June 2023 financial statements and assessment district distribution.
Number 2.
So you all vote on the entire consent.
So moved.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
There was a check to Peninsula Municipal Engineering for Parks and Rec professional services. I've never seen them before. Who are
Is
they?
that Ray?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, okay, good. Thank you.
that's his official title. Companies.
It was a great job.
So moved. Second. Do you have a second?
Second,
You. Call the roll. Director Grant,
Yes.
Director Clark,
yes,
Director Dye,
Yes.
and Director Randall.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0.
Do we have any committee reports on seminars, conferences, or committee meetings? Okay. So we don't have to do anything with that.
No.
All right, information calendar. Attorney's report,
No report.
no report. General manager's report,
Nothing further.
administrative staff report. All right, future agenda items. I believe what we have here. We have no list. We have no items, no more meetings. No, we're
We're going to talk about the impact of all these damn infrastructure issues on our budget and our rate structure. Right?
Yes, but that would be
At a regular meeting?
a regular meeting, or that's a special meeting, right? That we just said. we're gonna
Well,
discuss.
I think we need,
I'm gonna try and run numbers before we take a vote on that.
Okay,
but
But-
if we have to address this one specific issue, but then we need to look at the Montero Force Main issues.
I'm gonna include everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if it's next Monday,
So
it
it
might be
looks-
hard. I know, you're good. You're really good.
He's already run the numbers. He just did it in his head. All right. So for our next, it looks like we have a few items for September. Information on CalTrust and camp inventory
Investment.
Okay. And
yeah,
then
what is that?
CalTrust and CAMP are investment vehicles that are earning, CAMP is earning 5.48% and CalTrust is earning 5.19.
So way over.
Life is earning 3.1 or something. So it's good to have the options, that might flip at some point in time. I looked at all the underlying investments and Life is heavy into treasury bills, and their maturity is long, but CAMP and CalTrust are not.
then we also have an office lease renewal item for September. Are there any other items?
And as always, if anyone has any, just email us. We'll get it on.
Okay. So then
That is it.
adjourn the regular meeting.
Yep.
You want to do this thing?
There you go. Sure.
Great job, Madam President.
Look at that. Wait, I beat a record. I think I beat